cute romantic relationship in the anime and manga, but they never do it, and then hentai fills in that gap. They fucking do it, and it's great. That guy does. There's Obama hentai. It's pretty good. That's Hillary Clinton and John McCain. There's hentai. I like this hentai. It's like this dude wakes up one morning and there's a dick on his forehead, and he learns that the only way to get rid of it is to masturbate it. But every time he does that, another dick pops up. So it's like it just keeps multiplying. Eventually, he finds a bunch of women to help him with this problem. So hentai can be really, really cheeky. 3 or 4 years ago, we got a publishing deal with a Japanese publisher called Wani Magazine, the biggest publisher of hentai in the world. Up until then, everything on Fakku was scanlated and fan sub, and we got the opportunity to publish and work with these artists who we had been fans of for a long time, which is why we started publishing books. And we have a subscription on the website because all of that goes back to them. And that was really rewarding for me as a fan who grew up reading it for free on the internet, because I finally had the opportunity to give back to the people who created it. Because there really was no way to officially, as an English fan, to officially support these artists in Japan. There was just no way. And to make matters worse, because there was no way to do it, our only way to read the stuff was through piracy, which is understandable. And so all the artists just thought we were filthy pirates, and they neglected the market outside of Japan. So when we were able to show them hey, how do people want to support you and officially read your stuff, they were really receptive to that, and that's what led to Fakku books, which is where we are today. This is the Fakku panel, just making sure everyone knows. Cool. This is not Love Live. But Love Live is cool. I've fabbed to Love Live many times. The Love Live dojos. So 3 years ago, we announced all of that. We put out our first book. I was really worried at the time that no one would sort of be willing to pay for something like hentai before, because no one ever really charged for hentai. It is worth paying for. Or I should say, no one made a compelling argument to pay for hentai because it's so rampantly free on the internet because there was no market. It was sort of like how anime was before Crunchyroll really took off, where it was the only way you could really watch anime and stay up to date was through piracy. That's the state that hentai was in. So I wasn't sure if people would sort of follow along with what I was saying, but to my surprise, tons of people around the world bought our first book, and they posted lots of pictures with their waifus and our first book, which was a nice sample. So it was really cool to see people respond to the message. And then we put out more and more and more and more books. All of these books from artists who I'd been fapping to since I was 13 or 14. And I finally got to publish their books, so it was pretty damn cool. I actually met this artist recently, and I got to meet him, and I walked up to him and I'm like, I got your stuff when I was 13. And he's totally Japanese, and I'm some dumb white guy speaking broken Japanese. Yeah, it was pretty funny. This is Hanafuda. This is a beautiful, beautiful book we did. Honestly, we're up to 35 books now, which is pretty crazy. This was the best-selling hentai manga in Japan in 2014 when we published it. And those people who just left definitely thought this was a lot. Even real. We published this is the best-selling hentai manga of all time in Japan, and we published the official English version, which is cool. It's beautiful. So the list goes on and on and on. And this isn't even remotely up to date with what we've been doing recently. Yeah. This is cool. This is a cool book. It's called Kogal, Sluts, and Whatever. It's a good book. Maybe I'll show it later. 2 years ago, we brought Boshi, a hentai artist, to Anime Expo as a guest of honor. It was the first time a hentai manga artist has sort of come over to America in that capacity, and he did an exclusive doujin release, which is the comic for his American fans at Anime Expo. That was 2 years ago. Last year, we brought Saiton, the author of this book, and Namatati out there, and a bunch of our other ones. And this year, in a month, we're bringing another artist in. We have not announced it, but we will be announcing it on the website in like a week. We also collab with Toshio Maeda, the creator of Blue Girl and Legend of the Overfiend. Like all of these like crazy anime that I like kind of grew up watching. Like going to Blockbuster and you'd see like Legend of the Overfiend, Blue Girl, and ninjas scrolling all these goofy things. Like Blue Girl's the one where it's like the ninjas like grow penises and then fuck people. It's goofy. Yeah, Overfiend is like one of the most famous hentai of all time. And we did a Kickstarter for it with Toshio, and it was a success, which was cool. Then, after a year of proving ourselves with the books, we started publishing magazines. In Japan, all of these hentai actually appear in magazines, like sort of the equivalent of Shonen Jump but for hentai. So you'd walk into 7-Eleven every month and buy the latest hentai magazine, which is called Comicon, which is this one. And we started publishing those on the website, and this was probably the coolest thing ever because this is sort of like the dream where the same moment a customer in Japan walks into the convenience store and buys the magazine, you can go on Fakku and read it in English and uncensored, so it's actually like better than what they read in Japan. So don't tell anyone in Japan that. So that's what the subscription is. It's these magazines, and now we're up to 4 of them. So there's around 1,800 pages of content a month. We'll do questions just after. And we made a whole new online reader for it all, so it's pretty dope. I wanted to make sure that the reading experience when you're fapping on Fakku is just perfect. It's perfect. So it's very smooth. It works on mobile and everything. And the coolest thing, again, all of the money like goes back to the artists in Japan, and they see like, oh hey, my food and art chapter was really popular in America. Maybe I'll draw more food and art. We're doing original comics now with Japanese artists. They're doing comics for Fakku, not even for like the magazines or things in Japan, but for Fakku, and we're putting it out there first, which I can show later. We also did a little line of skateboards. This isn't even an up-to-date picture, but I had this cool idea of like, oh hey, I want to collab with these artists even more than we already are. What's like a way we can do something with them in like a unique way that they're not familiar with? So I thought a skateboard was a really cool canvas for the artists to do original artwork on. And these are artists that we publish their books as well. We also have figures on the website, just kind of like I'm a weeb and I like figures. So that's sort of a little synopsis of what Fakku kind of is, but honestly we're doing a lot more these days than when I last updated this panel. We actually started a little video game company called Kanaji, which did a collab with the official Evangelion studio in Japan. We made a mobile game that features the original voice actresses of My Wife Alaska and all the characters from Evangelion. So we're doing lots of cool things on the side. And lots of cool things that I'll be announcing soon to make Fakku even cooler. Which I can probably show the skateboards. This is the Fakku store website. Every time we release a book, we do like these big promotional pages for pre-order. This is our latest book, which I think we started pre-orders on Thursday, first day of this convention. It's sort of like an up-to-date look at what we're doing with skateboards. We published our first Guro manga, and I think it's the first Ero Guro officially published in English in the United States. We had the artist Shintaro Kaga do the skateboard design. When I was pitching it to him, I'm like, can you make her like guts spell out Fakku? Yeah, it's pretty dope. So this is what Fakku looks like. This is sort of like what I was saying with all the magazines that we publish. Now we've published like honestly kind of an absurd amount of magazines. And when you click on one of these, all of the chapters from the magazine are on Fakku, uncensored in English, ready for you to do that or read. I like it. It's really cool. When I started Fakku, it was just me in my parents' basement, and it was that way for like 7 years. I mean, I went off and got jobs and stuff and moved out of my parents' basement, but Fakku was just, something I did on my own in my free time. And then once we started publishing, it grew and grew. And now we have an office, and we have 30 full-time employees. and we have health insurance and shit. And it's crazy because I'm the president of the company, so I'm not involved in like the translation or the typesetting anymore. So I have the best job where I get to go home at night and just like read the latest releases on Fakku with everyone else and enjoy them. Where all of our other staff have to like slave over them. And they do a phenomenal job at that. I really think our translations and typesetting is the best in the world. Look at this cute little baby girl. And again, all of our stuff is completely uncensored, which is cool because like they don't even get that in Japan. This is the actual Japanese artist, original uncensored drawing, available for you to read. So cool, let's do some questions. Yes?
I was just going to ask, what kind of delay in the translation is there? Do you try to translate things right away, or is there several years like there are for something else?
Oh, no. It's for our magazines, we actually start translating it before it comes out in Japan. So we get it early, and then we have the first few chapters ready, so the exact same day it comes out in Japan, it's available on Fakku. For the latest magazine was this one. The moment this hit stores in Japan, we have the first, I think, 2 chapters on Fakku, or the first one, which is this one, available for you to read. For our books, there's a little bit more of a delay, probably like a few months is the closest we get, because there's a lot more work that goes into printing the books and stuff. But the digital, again, goes up immediately. I'm just going to read that up here. Oh my goodness, look at that guy's dick. Yes, there's a question there.
Yeah. Are you guys going to get an app? Because I think you should.
Yeah, we can't make a mobile app because all of the app stores, iTunes and Google, don't let you do like adult apps, which is why we don't have them. Otherwise, we definitely would. But to sort of offset that, we've made it so that Fakku is... If you go on the Fakku website on your phone, it like looks like this right here. It actually works really well like a mobile app would. So that's sort of how we get rid of it. So just go on Fakku in a mobile browser, and it should work very well, just like this. Maybe we'll make an unofficial app one day, but probably not. We'll probably just make a dope mobile website. Yes, next question.
What are your top 3 tweets, and what insight have you seen or read that you feel is the best?
On Fakku we have tag. We tag everything, right? So you can browse by tags. Like there's a biting tag, and a body swap tag. I like tsunderes. So like, they're the ones who are like, I hate you, Eddie. Oh, I love you. Gaska. I like panland. The like black thigh-high stockings are like the god's gift to man, I think. I like femdom a bit. Actually on Fakku, you can favorite everything. So these are my favorites. You can see my favorite faps lately. These are some of them. I'll pull up this one. I think is like my favorite. Yeah. This is my favorite at the moment. This is like, I'll just get to like the good part. It's just like this cute like angry girl. And she loves him. She's like, she looks angry, but yeah. Oh yeah. So she tied him up. She tied this dude up. She's like, look at her. She's got black tie stockings, and then she just like steps all over him, and like she just like steps all over him. This is good shit, right? Mama mia. So that's probably how I would answer that.
Have you noticed any surprising trends for like demographics and just users that you wouldn't have thought before you made the website? You know, just age or sex, gender?
Yeah. Probably the coolest thing I learned when making Fakku was that lots and lots of girls fap dance. Like way more than I thought when I made it. We have a large female user base, which is really cool. And I wasn't expecting that. Like, girls love reading hentai manga, just like the rest of us. Just like I think everyone just likes shit. And yeah, that probably surprised me the most because I was just like a nerdy white kid who never kissed a girl before and liked my anime girls. For April Fools, we did this cool thing. We made a Fakku dating website. Maybe you saw it, I don't know. But it like blew up. It was sort of like you chose like an avatar, and then you chatted with people randomly, sort of like Omegle. So you would choose like, oh, my favorite tags on Fakku are vanilla and foot jobs and yanderes, and then we would pair you up with someone who sort of matched with you. And yeah, it was pretty fucking hilarious. And it blew up, and there were like more people using Fakku dating than there were on Fakku. And I took it down about a week ago. Here's a few funny reaction videos of using Fakku dating. So if you go on Fakku.dating, you can watch these videos. But it's this cool. There's this one guy who tweeted, "Oh my god, I am on Fakku dating, and I just met someone who lives 20 minutes away." And then he's like, "Oh my god, I'm on a date with that person now for real." And he's like, "Oh my god, I just got laid." And this was cool. Yeah, Fakku dating. This was just cool to see. And then he posted like the conversation of like, you know, him talking to this person, and they both got laid, obviously. So lots of cool things like that. One of the coolest things to come out of Fakku for me was just meeting so many cool people. This is my 4th Phoenix Comicon, I think, and you guys keep inviting me out for some reason. Thank you. Yeah, so the coolest thing I've gotten to do is meet cool people all around the world. Who's got the next question? Anything.
So when you look at the craziest thing you've done drunk with any author?
Craziest thing I've done drunk with the authors.
Or writers?
Yeah. I went to an author party last year, and we all went out to karaoke, and I went out to karaoke with a bunch of the hentai artists on Fakku, just in general. We got pretty drunk. And that was when I learned that, like, a surprisingly large amount of the authors are females, too. Like, a lot of them are girls. And one of them is this girl, I think she's publicly, this artist, Misa Wasabi. And in retrospect, her name is Misa, which is a female name. I was hanging out with this artist, and I ran it, and she always does anal stuff. And I like went up to her, and I was like, "I love your anus." That's what I said by accident. I was like, "Oh, I love your anal work," but I like tried to say it in Japanese, and then I just said like, "I love your anus." She laughed, and I don't know, we drank more beers. But I awkwardly told a female mangaka I loved her anus.
Into that or not?
Oh yeah, she's super into it. And if you read this interview with her, which you can do with the Fakku subscription, she talks all about loving scrumptious anuses. Look at this. Anus, booty clam. Yeah, she loves drawing anuses and butts and all that. This is all the books we've published since we went legit, and there's just an obscene amount of them. This was our first, like I said, our first Euro book, which is really cool. This artist Shintaro Kago, who I love. And it was just, it's like sort of like Junji Ito stuff, but more erotic. And yeah, it was super cool to be able to publish this book, yeah. And artists like him. Yeah, it's fucked up Guru shit. So yes, who's got another question?
Would you ever think about making
A movie or a show? A lot of the books we have published sort of in Japan get anime on their own. I am looking at adding anime to Fakku, like anti-anime and stuff. I don't know if we'll ever be the catalyst for creating it ourselves, like here domestically, but I do know that once we pick up a book that makes Japan do things, like we'll pick up a book and then that artist, then like the figure companies will approach that artist and say, "Hey, Fakku published your book in English. That made us want to make figures out of your book, and that makes us want to make an anime out of your book," and things like that. So if you see an artist you like and we publish them, support them, because again, that goes back to Japan and that leads to more stuff. Like a few of the books we've published are getting animes as a result of us publishing them. Metamorphosis would be a ridiculous hit, right? I've met Noel, I've hung out with him a lot, he's a cool guy. He knows English, so him and I can just hang out, and I was like, dude, you're a monster. Because I was like, what did you do to that poor girl? This book is called Metamorphosis because he wrote it in the theme of Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis, which is the guy who wakes up and turns into a bug. It's all depressing. This is that story applied to a Japanese schoolgirl, like going down a downward spiral of drug use and prostitution and stuff, and it ends very badly for her. So I was hanging out with them. I'm like, why did you do that to that poor girl? Yeah. This would be a good anime. Definitely.
So, since back in the late 90s, early 90s, they had a lot of dubbed hentai.
Yep.
And since then, it's like maybe like 3 to 5 in the last 10 years.
Yep.
Is there any idea to take what current hentais that are out there to uncensored and love them that are going to possibly branch out into?
Is that something people would want to see? And hentai anime on Fakku? Yes?
Yes.
Well then, I would say that I'm with you, right? Like when I grew up, I remember getting DVDs at like Suncoast and FYE and shit. And like Another Lady Innocent was a really good one, probably my favorite hentai of all time. Yeah, there were 1 or 2 companies that did it, and they essentially stopped in the past 10 years. Again, I do think that they didn't recognize what was going on with the internet and digitally and all of that, and getting in front of that. So a lot of these companies sort of like faded into obscurity as a result of not embracing new distribution methods. But I do have some really cool plans in regards to anime. And if you like anime, you should keep an eye on Fakku over the next month, because there's going to be a very big announcement, and it's going to be very cool, and it may or may not involve some of the stuff you're interested in. You can't say anything about it yet, but hopefully I've said enough to get you a little intrigued. Yes?
Do you guys have yaoi downstairs, and what would you recommend?
We don't have yaoi downstairs, but we do have yaoi on Fakku. Like this one. These boys who just are in a little swim club together. Let's look at each other. What are they doing to this poor other boy? Actually, there's a really funny sound effect. So yeah, we don't have too much yaoi only because like I help choose a lot of our stuff, and I don't know much about yaoi, but we will be adding a lot more yaoi. Because actually the Fakku, so we have 30 employees at Fakku, and like 70% of them are like these really perverted girls, and they fucking love yaoi. They're always trying to get me to publish more yaoi, so there's a lot of yaoi coming in the future. So hopefully it helps other people come too. But there's this funny like sound effect. Oh yeah, look, it's cute. Oh, let me grab. There's definitely a funny sound effect in here. Oh yeah, that's it. Stab! Stab that dude's butthole. So right now there's like a few yaoi on Fakku, 4 total. They're worth it. Another thing we do, which I think is cool, because with Fakku we have this opportunity to do more than just Japanese hentai. So we actually publish some American authors alongside the Japanese comics that we publish. Like this is an artist named Ghetto Youth, who I like a lot. And we publish him right alongside all of the Japanese artists. And we're going to help him get his book published in Japanese too. Which is cool, and I think this is a really cool opportunity. He doesn't want to fuck this girl in her tiny ass. I think he does eventually. This is an 18 plus panel, by the way. So another cool thing we do is we actually ourselves publish and support a few Western artists as well. Welcome to the panel. What do you think of this? So that's really cool, and we're going to be doing more of that. When I was talking about the Japanese ones, these are comics by Japanese artists that aren't in the magazines. Like they made them for Fakku, which is really cool. So this is hentai that I'm sure you can pirate it all over the internet, but it's made for their fans on Fakku specifically. So part of your subscription, you get to read like original. This is all NTR cheating stuff. This chapter. I think the plot is like this housewife. Her next door neighbor is this young dude who's always having passionate, loud sex with people, and like her husband doesn't satisfy her. So one day he hears her like through the wall, and he's like, I think he just like calls out her name. He's like, "Come over here, neighbor, and I'll fuck you." And she's like, "Yes, I want that." Yeah, come on over. And she just goes over, and they do it. So very romantic. Actually, yes.
Why do you describe which books that you want to publish? Going into you have the whole catalog back.
Yep.
New ones that but also some people
Good question. So, how do you choose which books to publish? When we first started, it was like we sort of got to, or I should say, we're lucky that we get to pick from like the entire pool of hentai manga out there. Usually, it's what our staff are interested in, or what is suggested to us on the forums. Like there's a whole forum topic dedicated to suggestions. We look at this a lot when we're deciding on new titles. But usually we try to pick like a brand new book, and also like an older title that is like super famous and well known that never got brought over into English. Like there's a hentai anime called Polinic Girls Attack. You may have seen it at some point. It's like, I think there's like you guys know you get like allergies and stuff? It's like that, but instead of like running noses, you like have sex with people. That's the plot of this hentai. And this is an example of one that like came out like 10 years ago, but it's like super well known and like helped pervert thousands of people around the world. So this is something that we would go back to, which is an older title, and we'd publish it now. It's relevant because the author just did a new chapter for it for the first time in like 10 years, like last week we put it on Fakku. So if you like that story, there's a brand new chapter about allergies. But other than that, we like to choose titles that are like kind of new and interesting. I know a few that I can tell you that we have a Monster Girl book coming up. Yes, which is really cool. I haven't announced it yet, but we have a really, really cool Monster Girl book coming up. Let's see. We're doing our first like trans manga actually, which is cool. It's this TS I Love You series. It's a really cool book, and this was a cool license to pick up because after the fact, like a month or two later, not this artist, but another artist emailed me and they're like, "Hey, I want to thank you for publishing my book because I was able to use the money to help pay for his mom's like medical bills." And I was like, "Oh my god, whoa!" Like again, like 10 years ago, I made a hentai website and it was all like scanlations and pirated stuff. And then today, it's an official, legit website. We're publishing these authors, and then one of them said, "Hey, you helped pay for my mom's cancer." And then by you, I mean all of you who use Fakku and support it. So that was sort of like the ultimate, like, holy shit, we are making a difference, like through porn. This is what the front page of Fakku looks like every day. There's like 3 or 4 new releases that get uploaded, and it's a combination of stuff for the subscription and books. We also started doing dojin, which are hentai that are based on an existing series. So this is like where the Naruto hentai would be. This is that dungeon show, I think. This is the Pretty Cure ones. These are when we work with an artist directly and say, hey, your one-off comic that you released at Comicon, we want to help you publish it officially on Fakku. There's a bunch of food and art ones. So that's what these dojin are too. So we do this. We're trying to do like tons of different things and see what people like. But really the goal is just to publish as much hentai as humanly possible. I think this is Food Wars. Cool. Who's got another question?
The skateboards you were doing, were you influenced at all by some of the hookup boards from like the 90s and the 2000s?
I hate hookups. And here's why I hate hookups, right? Like hookups actually like straight up steals that art and like recolors it and puts it on the decks. I think their most recent design they actually got a license for, but everything else they just steal from Japan. And they've been doing that for like 20 years. No one ever called them out on it. But yeah, no, I wasn't influenced by that. After the fact, I sort of realized this because people like were talking to me about hookups. Hookups is another fuck hookups. Anyway, they steal artists' art and then sell it as their own, and that's shitty. So I don't like hookups. If you have hookups boards, it's fine. But yeah, it wasn't influenced by it. Yeah. Support artists, not hookups. Yes.
So speaking more about plans, do you have plans to do ports of like DMM games or like some of the software that's download?
Yeah, cool question. There's lots of like hentai, like web-based games and mobile games and things like that this Japanese company DMM does. And I know DMM very well. They brought me out and like wine and dine me a few times. And they're like this massive company in Japan. They're like Amazon tier in Japan. I think we are eventually going to do some games with them because I like games too, and I would like to see them on Fakku. One of our books recently, this book, Summer Love Geek Girl, which is a really cool book, is actually through, this is a DMM book. It's through a publisher that DMM owns that we work with. Hello. Yeah, she's a cutie. This girl, wherever she is, yeah. I love hentai. Yeah, me too. Yeah, so we're definitely going to do more things with games. Anime, I think, is going to be the first thing that we do next. Yeah, so have we ever thought of selling the physical magazines or the hardcover books? I've thought about it, yeah. It's something we can do, because again, these are like Shonen Jump that we publish essentially for hentai. I don't know if it's, I don't know how big the market is for a paperback magazine. I know that the book market is good because we sort of, like our books are like super high quality. Like they have the dust jackets, they're full, large size, we use like super high quality paper. And we do that because me as a fan, if I'm gonna buy a manga, it's because I want to collect it, not necessarily because I want to like buy it and go read it. It's because I want to like collect it because I love it. So that's what we do with our manga. That's what we target. And I don't know about physical magazines, but hardcover books definitely. We're gonna get into hardcover books as well. Actually, probably the coolest thing lately is my favorite manga publisher is Vertical Manga. Vertical Comics. They did Gundam The Origin, the hardcover, and Nichijou, and they did Flowers of Evil, and a bunch of really cool manga series, and they actually do a really good job. And when I started publishing through Fakku, I was like, I want us to be like them, like where they set like a new standard for manga printing. And recently, the head of Vertical Comics, who did all of that, joined Fakku as our vice president. And he now works under me, and we're gonna like do a ton of super fucking cool shit in the future with manga. So there's definitely more books on the horizon. I don't even think I've publicly announced that yet. So who's got another question? Yes.
What's your favorite game or anime series that you got?
My favorite thing to fact. Yeah, my favorite book is so Metamorphosis, which you mentioned earlier. It's super fucked up, and I call this like a guilt fap. Because you read through it and you're getting sad and you feel bad for the characters, which is great. I love feeling emotion when I'm reading this stuff. Like I can't just like the reason I don't like normal porn is because it's just like people fucking and like that's it. It's like, hey, I delivered this pizza. You don't have any money. So I like plot in my porn. So Metamorphosis did that for me, but I call it a guilt fap because I wouldn't tell my mom that I fapped to that. Or anything, I guess. This is probably my favorite book, though, The Job of a Service Committee Member, which we published. This book is super fucking good, and this artist is like a god. And the plot is like, there's an after-school club where it's their job to like have sex with the other students, and I don't know, it's raunchy as hell, and the artwork is like, it just does it for. Actually, I'll show you my favorite chapter in the book, which is this one. This is like this cute ass yandere girl. She's like look at her eyes. Yeah, she's gonna fucking murder you if you cross her. Right? That's what I'm saying. So she's like the childhood friend of this guy right here, who is now getting married to some other girl. And they just announced her or something. And she came over to visit because he's moving out. And she's like, when we were kids, you promised you'd marry me. What the fuck? So, like, he's all alone, like, unpacking up his stuff. He's like, I'm gonna get one more fap before I'm a married man. And she comes, and she's like, he's fapping in, like, the bottom corner there. And she, like, comes and she just, like, steps on his dick. And she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I hate you. She's, like, stomping on his dick. And then she's like, fuck me right now. I want to be your wife. And then his actual wife comes home, and he's like, oh my god, and he like pulls her into the closet and they hide, and then she starts like giving him a blowjob. You see where the plot's going. Anyway, this is a good one for me. All right, enough about me. That's a good one though. Read that. We always put Non-Version by or one of our first full color books. And this book, like this artist is like a god. Like this is like actual, like, yeah. And it's hentai. And like, what's cool about Fakku, I don't actually even consider Fakku a porn website. I just consider it like a manga website for adults, like a anime manga website for adults. Like I don't categorize it with Pornhub and all that shit. And I think like this artist is a really good example of showing like that this is art. It's not just porn. So, random little aside there. There's the other question. Boma. We had this one and we sold out of it. Yeah. We actually sold out of a ton of our books and we sold out of all of our skateboards. I think we're going to sell out of everything by the end of today, actually. So, if you wanted to come visit our booth, 1167, we only have like 20 books left for sale. And you should at least do that and see the quality of them, because we put all other English manga to shame for the most part. So, yes.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory. Is Fakku related? Jacob related. I have funny, like when in high school, I remember I would like go home and watch Toonami after school every day, which was dope, and that's sort of like what led me down this path, like going home and watching Tenchi Muyo and Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing and everything. And there was one day where I think I first started getting into hentai, and I went to school the next day, and I was like 14, and I was like, hey. So my friends were all sitting there, I'm like, hey guys, like hentai's pretty cool. And they're like, hentai, is that just when Vegeta fucks Goku in the ass? I was like, no. They just like did not believe me that it was. I actually they came to one of my panels like a couple years ago, and I like told that story, and then I'm like, and it was fucking these guys. I shamed them. I got to publicly shame them in front of hundreds of people. It's my sweet revenge. I just got this question. I don't think I've ever masqueraded to a non-pornographic magazine. I've never been that desperate. But someone did. Someone at a convention in Idaho did come up to me and legitimately, straight face, asked me like, "Have you ever?" And this, and they, you can sort of tell that this was like coming from a truthful place. He was like, "Have you ever seen a real vagina before, like the kinds in National Geographic?" What are you asking? I was like, what? And I'm like, did this person, is this, I don't know. Random story. You got a question over here? That's fine. We can talk about League of Legends, anything you want.
What's your favorite cereal?
Favorite cereal?
Yeah.
For a long time, it was like Captain Crunch and Reese's Puffs when I was younger in college and shit. But now I'm like, now as an older man, I'm like, I need like oats and shit. I need like healthy shit. And I need like some strawberries in there and, you know, healthy stuff. So like Whole Foods type stuff, yeah. Yes.
What's your favorite, like, categories for hentai, like, altogether?
I probably like tsundere. I was talking about it a little earlier. Tsunderes are hot as hell. Femdom is hot. I like a girl who comes up and is like, fuck me. Steps on you a little bit, that's cool. And then I like feeling like emotions and plots. I like drama, like Netarares. Makes you sad, but it makes the fab more lubricated. The tears. Yes.
Alright, so I got two. One of them's real quick. So like, firstly, when will get Fakku dating back?
Alright, has anyone watched Silicon Valley, the HBO show? It's a great show. Is anyone up to date on it? Okay. So you know that episode like 3 weeks ago where they were like talking about that video chat website, and they're like, oh god, there's all these laws that we have to think about. That's what happened with Fakku dating. I was like, because it's a chat website where you anonymously just chat with other people, and it was a joke that I just made over a weekend. And I like left it up there for a little while because people were actually crazy amount using it. And then it, like, someone in like the government reached out to me and was like, hey, if you're gonna keep this online, you have to like do a bunch of legal shit because like if minors use it and shit, like then you're like, yeah. So I took it down. I'm like, fuck all that. No, I'm done. So yeah, that's real life. HBO, Silicon Valley. That happened. The Fakku did. Didn't get like millions of dollars in fines, but yeah. So maybe eventually, once we figure out if it's worth doing. What was your second question?
Alright, would you have the influence to help somebody fat to something like League of Legends or Overwatch, etc.? Big an artist on that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There might be League of Legends that type. Oh shit. Yeah, this is an artist, Doxy. He's a Western artist, and this is definitely Fuda, I think, actually too. Yeah, no, we're definitely gonna have like League of Legends and Overwatch hentai and stuff like that. 'Cause people want it and it's cool. And like, look at chicks fucking pie in the ass. Is that her ass? No. It's not in her ass here, and then it's in her ass here. There, on the right. I'm confused. Anyway. The answer is yes. The more hentai, the better.
What is your favorite breed of monster?
Favorite breed of monster? I like slime girls. Slime girls are cool. You can like fuck them and like you see your dick through them. That's cool. Centaur girls would be cool. You can ride on them after. Sport. Spider girls would scare me a lot. That would be creepy, like all their arms and shit. I thought about it actually. There's this game called Monster Girl Quest. It's a hentai game where you have sex with like hundreds of monster girls, and it's fucking awesome. You have sex with a sea cucumber girl at some point. So I'd probably say slime girl or like centaur girl would be my wasn't sure. Snake girls are probably yes.
What's the number of visits by country?
Yeah. So which country is the most popular in Fakku? It's United States is first. I think it's like Germany second. Then parts of South America, and like Mexico, Canada, and then like the rest is just like European countries. It used to when it was free, it was like tons of Asian countries and the United States. But since we sort of like went legit, they're all on other pirate websites now. All of us. So, yeah. Good question. Yes.
So since like everything's becoming censored, is there like some restriction on that in Japan, or can they not go on this website?
Yeah, they can't go on Fakku in Japan because reading uncensored in Japan is illegal in Japan. Like even like when I go to Japan, I'm even like I have a way to get into Fakku, but even I'm like it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, they have laws. That's why there are black bars and whatnot. But this is America. We love freedom, so no black bars on any dicks. We love giant, big, veiny dicks. Let's look at some big, veiny dicks. Right? This is a Fakku panel. This is a Love Live panel. Yeah. Hold on. I love this artist a lot, and he draws like the best dicks. He just draws the best dicks. Like, look at this. It's artwork. Like, look at this. Look at the detail on this dick. In Japan, this is all censored. Like, you can't see any of this dick. It's sad. Look at this guy. It's kind of like a tired meat. I feel. Yeah. Anyway, I love this artist and I love his dicks. And he loves all of you. He actually was like, he was really surprised that his book did extremely well in America. And I'm like, no way, dude. Like he almost has this really cool, like, Western style. Yeah. I did tell him I love his dick, yeah. I did drop it. Who actually loves it? This is a long line. Rabu Rides panel. Yes.
What kind of normal anime do you like? JoJo's was fucking great. I miss JoJo's. Evangelion's great. I watched that new movie in the theater recently, Your Name. That was great. Got a little teary at the end. This season I'm watching Arrow Manga Sensei. It's the best anime of the season, let's be honest. Is anyone up to date on anime? It's good. It's fucking good, alright? It's trashy as hell, but it's good. Every episode I'm like, I'm also watching Samurai Jack this season, which is great. And I was like, watching it, and I got to one of the episodes, and I don't want to spoil this. Anyway, the moral of the story is, after I watched this episode, I went on Tumblr and I was like, what does the fandom think of this plot development? And it was like, I can't believe like this child sex thing is happening and blah blah blah. And I was like, meanwhile I'm like watching Arrow Manga Sensei and I'm like, I hope he fucks his 12-year-old sister. Yeah. Anyway, anime is great. Yeah, JoJo's was really great recently. I liked Erased. I like Bakemonogatari, and what was the other one? The Guitar and the swords were cool swords. I like the box set. Anyway, anime is great. Watch JoJo's. If you haven't watched JoJo's, watch fucking JoJo's. Actually, I did this like 5 years ago. So yeah, I was hanging, or for the most part, I was hanging out with this artist who's a friend of mine, and we were like, oh, we should come up with a mascot for Fakku. So we like listed off all of our
favorite fetishes, which are like thigh-high stocking, being tsundere and shit. And that's what gave birth to our mascot, Momoka. And yeah, this is Momoka. People like cosplay her all the time too, which is cool. And here she is. It's my daughter. This is a picture of me with Momoka. It's actually a lot of drawings of me having sex with Momoka, which I did not produce. Yeah, so our mascot Momoka is probably it for a minute. Yeah, that's what I said. She cosplay everybody. Good question. Let's see if anyone here.
What would you say on your
We have Donald Trump hentai on the and Hillary Clinton, this is Hillary Clinton. Yeah, it's pretty good, it's pretty funny. We also have this artist, Sakurai Energy, who is fucking incredible. And this was a cool example of, like, these are actually non-hentai chapters, which we publish as well in addition to our hentai releases. And this is something that, like, you never would have seen ever translated before we started doing this, because these are actually like gag manga in the hentai magazines that that no one ever would have scanlated or done anything with ever, and now we actually publish them. It's super cool. Yeah, fucking news. He did a Fox News parody from Japan. It's called Fucking News. Yeah, on fucking TV. Yeah, so there's lots of funny chapters like this on Fakku, but probably the one where Donald Trump has sex with Hillary Clinton would be my favorite. Alright, who's got actually we only have time for probably 2 more questions. Rick Sanchez, what up?
My question is pretty lame.
That's fine.
Alright, how popular are your non-H chapters?
Our non-H chapters are honestly, when we first started doing non-H, sort of non-hentai chapters, there's a lot of them now. When we first started doing them, people were like, what the fuck, I come on Fakku to fat. And then we're like, no, hold up. Like, yeah, hold up, they're good, they're worth reading. And now people actually really like them. And they're growing in popularity a lot. Like, this one is a series where this dude does, like, Japanese historical chapters as like manga. Like, this one is Joan of Arc. There's like a whole non-Arrow chapter about Joan of Arc, and it's all goofy and stuff. So they're pretty popular. Alright, one more question. Who's got a good one? You gonna do me like that? Last question. What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever masturbated to? Yeah, there have definitely been multiple times where I've been like reading through a hentai chapter and it was like this dude and this cute girl. Like, there's one distinct one I remember. It was like, it was a Moyashimon hentai. Or actually no, it wasn't. It was a hentai where this dude's having sex with this maid, and like halfway through it I realized that the maid is another dude. Definitely did not stop happening. Deep at that point, I'm like, fuck it, we'll finish this off. But that's happened a few times, so that's probably one of the most embarrassing things ever. Anyway, that is the Fakku Q&A panel. Thank you. Thanks for having me out again. Tonight at 9 p.m. is Hentai Worth Watching. It is right next door. And until 7 p.m. I'll be down in the exhibit hall at booth 1167. Come talk about porn. Thank you, everybody.